Title: Whispers in the Station. The night settled over the city like a thick fog, shrouding the police station in an eerie stillness. As Detective Alex Reynolds sat at his desk, the only illumination came from the flickering light of a single desk lamp. The usual hum of activity had given way to an unsettling silence that seemed to echo through the dimly lit corridors. The air in the room felt charged with an otherworldly energy, as if the walls themselves harbored secrets. I shifted uncomfortably in my chair, the leather creaking softly beneath me. My gaze flicked to the cold cup of coffee on my desk, long forgotten and untouched. I couldn't shake the feeling that something was amiss, a sense of unease that danced just beyond the edges of my consciousness. The whispers of an unsettling truth lingered in the shadows, waiting to be unveiled. My partner, Detective Sarah Turner, shuffled through some paperwork at her desk opposite mine. Her eyes darted nervously around the room, mirroring the tension that gripped us both. The usual camaraderie we shared had waned, replaced by a palpable tension that hung in the air like a heavy fog. "Alex, have you noticed anything strange tonight?" Sarah's voice was hushed, as if afraid to disturb the ominous quiet. I raised an eyebrow, trying to feign nonchalance. "Strange? It's just another night at the precinct, isn't it?" But Sarah wasn't fooled. Her eyes bore into mine, searching for a connection, a shared understanding of the disquiet that lurked within the station's walls. "Don't play dumb. There's something off about tonight. I can feel it." As if on cue, the lights overhead flickered, casting the room into momentary darkness. A shiver ran down my spine, and I exchanged a glance with Sarah. The whispers, barely audible, seemed to emanate from the hidden corners of the station. "I heard they found something down in the evidence room," Sarah said, her voice low. I leaned forward, my curiosity piqued. "What do you mean, something?" Sarah hesitated, as if choosing her words carefully. "I overheard one of the officers talking. They found an old artifact, some kind of ancient relic. Said it was giving off weird vibes." A chill settled over the room, and the oppressive silence pressed down on us. "Ancient relic? What kind of artifact would be stored in our evidence room?" I muttered more to myself than to Sarah. Before we could delve deeper into the mystery, a raspy voice crackled over the intercom, jolting us both. "Detectives Reynolds and Turner report to the evidence room immediately." The abruptness of the command left no room for argument. Sarah and I exchanged wary glances before rising from our desks, the tension in the air growing thicker with each step. The police station, once familiar and comforting, now seemed like a labyrinth of shadows. The flickering lights cast distorted patterns on the linoleum floor, and the air grew colder as we approached the evidence room. The door swung open with a creak, revealing a dimly lit chamber filled with shelves of confiscated items. At the center stood Officer Daniels, his face pale and beads of sweat forming on his forehead. "Detectives," he stammered, "you need to see this." He led us to a corner of the room where a wooden crate lay open. Inside, nestled amidst crumpled newspapers, lay a curious object, a small, ornate box adorned with intricate carvings. As I reached for the box, a jolt of energy coursed through my fingertips. It was as if the artifact pulsed with a life of its own, a malevolent force that sent shivers down my spine. "What is it?" Sarah asked, her eyes wide with a mixture of curiosity and fear. Officer Daniels took a step back, as if afraid to get too close. "Found it hidden in a suspect's belongings. But since we brought it in here, strange things have been happening. Lights flickering, strange sounds echoing through the halls." As if on cue, a low, guttural growl emanated from the shadows, and the temperature in the room plummeted. The air itself seemed to thicken, and I exchanged a knowing glance with Sarah. "We need to take this to someone who knows about these things," I said, my voice determined. "Someone who can tell us what we're dealing with." But as we turned to leave the evidence room, the door slammed shut with a resounding thud, trapping us in the cold, dark chamber. The whispers, now louder and more insistent, echoed through the confined space. The artifact, cradled in my hands, seemed to pulse with an unholy energy. The carvings on the box glowed faintly, casting eerie shadows on the walls. The air itself seemed to vibrate with an otherworldly presence. Sarah and I exchanged a glance, our unspoken understanding fueling our resolve. Whatever ancient force we had unwittingly unleashed, we were now bound to confront it. The police station, once a bastion of order and justice, had become a battleground between the living and the supernatural. Little did we know, the true horror was yet to unfold, and the shadows that clung to the station's walls held secrets darker than any we could have imagined.